How many gallons of coolant does an engine block hold anyway? Hey, welcome back to the garage, everyone. All right, I'm slowly getting a spring back in my step. And so this weekend I haven't done a whole lot, especially because we're just now coming out of the deep freeze, I guess you might say. The Arctic blast pretty much covered the country, including central Alabama. And so it was about, 15 degrees in the last few nights and, probably about 30 in the shop until I got the heater going. I got it up to about 42. Anyway, the front end of the Corvette is done-ish, The passenger side is done, everything's buttoned up. The only thing left to do really is to put the center linkage on and the tie rods. But I'm not going to do that until I take the engine out. Got the rotors and bearings on both sides. They all turn like butter now. It's just really, really nice. The passenger side bearings, the grease inside there was really pretty black, and the race, you could tell on the outside of the race. Let me show you. This is the passenger race, and you see that discoloration, that wavy discoloration there, top and bottom. This race had been getting hot, so we were doing this car a favor. So we got new front wheel bearings all the way around, and everything moves really, really nicely. Ball joints are in, everything's greased. Got the sway bar in, all new bushings, everything's greased up. Brake lines are on. That's pretty simple stuff. Really, the only thing to do now is to go ahead and put the wheels back in this car and get it on the ground, and let's go ahead and take the hood off. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing on the ground. Got all the tires on there now. And we're going to get this thing lowered onto its own suspension for the first time. Again, the lower control arm, upper and lower control arm, the bolts on the end of the control arms that go into the bushings have not been tightened. So I won't do that until the weight of the car is on the suspension. So we'll do that at a later time. Let's go ahead and lower this on down. It's just about a ½ inch off the ground. The squeaking is tires and the cold lift mechanism. And we're rolling. Yeah, the lift is cold, so it's it's kind of groaning at me. Say, hey man, what are you trying to do to me? That lift is 10 years old now. All right, we're all the way down. There you go. Been a while since that car was on all fours, isn't it? All right, so let's take a look here what we got. The engine's sagging way down. It's not supported underneath. It should be, I guess, but I'm gonna replace the motor mounts anyway. That's the stretch of the rubber. So I'm not really worried about it. Got everything done underneath. Clearly the engine bay, we'll detail this as we go along, especially after we get the engine out. You can see the cross member there needs to be addressed. Got some rust and stuff down here on the radiator support. I replaced the booster and the master cylinder a long time ago. Gee, man, I don't know, 20 years ago maybe? So they still work fine. Been sitting up for a couple of years, so they may not be fine. We'll see. So that's the state of things. It's all factory, all original, except for that stick-on insulation I put on the air conditioner box over there. It did actually seem to help in the cooling quite a bit. All right, so up next, let's go ahead and get this hood off here. I think I'm just going to place it on top of the car. I got a cushion that I'm going to put up there to protect the car. So no big deal about that. My stupid GoPro just shut off again. I think it's too cold in the shop. So this GoPro 8, Hero 8 Black, it hasn't been very good. I think I'm gonna upgrade to something else. Maybe you got 10 or maybe just another brand of camera altogether. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this hood off here. Then we'll get that engine out. All right, that was pretty much uneventful. I got myself some string and tied it up to the rafters up there. And I tied it off to the latches on the hood, and that's what we used to keep the hood, you know, in place while I unbolted the hinges, and then had my son come out here, and we unbolted 4 remaining bolts and lifted it up out of the car and put it back over there on top of the roof. I've got a pad underneath there to protect the car, so pretty dusty. And up next, I think I'm going to get a jack underneath that engine and lift up the back end just a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and maneuver the cherry picker in place. All right, we're back. I've got the car in the air again, only slightly. And we've got the driver's side wheel removed. And I'll tell you why. Did you guys know that you cannot remove an engine from a C3 Corvette by placing the engine cherry picker in front of the vehicle? Who knew? The front of the car is pretty daggum long, so we're going to do it from the side. You know, it's amazing the things you can learn about a vehicle after you've owned it for 25 years. You think I would have known this already, but whatever. So this is a 2-ton cherry picker I picked up at Northern Tool. I don't know, when I initially decided I was going to do this project, and it's been sitting over there on the other side of the shop now for a couple of years, unused. But here we go, we're about to use it finally. So up next, let me go ahead and get the attachments here and hook up to the hook right there, and then let's go ahead and start connecting up the engine and get ready to pull this thing out of here. Let's start off by lowering this thing into position here. Got to get our chains close enough to the engine to do some good, I reckon. There we go, that ought to do. I kind of wanted to use these hooks here on the motor, you know. They came with it, so, you know, why not use them? But I don't have any hooks, so I've got one of those plates you put over the intake right here, but, you know, it's a 45-year-old aluminum intake, and I'm going to put all the weight on these threaded bosses here. And I'm like, I've seen guys do that on YouTube, on the internet, and it seems to work okay, and they don't have any problems, but I just can't seem to bring myself to do it. I know that sounds silly, but so I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to use the bolts in the head. I been fiddle-farting around trying to figure out something that'll work. I mean, I could cobble something together that will work, but I wanted to make sure that it's going to be convenient and safe. Had this big old honking bolt in there. I'm sure that would be fine, but here's the deal. In my mind, bolts are meant to have tensile strength. Tensile strength means the ability to resist a force pulling it, you know, elongating the bolt, as opposed to shear strength. So if I put a bolt through this, right, and through this, I'm exerting a shearing force on this bolt. Bolts are not designed to exhibit resistance to shearing forces more so than they are tensile strength forces. So there you go. That's the only thing that I came away with the engineering materials class at Mississippi State. I opted for something that is designed for this specific purpose, and this is an anchor shackle So I'm sure somebody in the comments will go, oh, an ankle shaker is not supposed to be used for that. You're just going to do the thing all wrong and you're just going to blow up and all this kind of stuff. Well, just you'll get over it. So here we are. The whole goal here is the car engine has lifting points. I'm going to use them come hell or high water. And this thing doesn't have a way to, connect to them. So they had some hooks down at Lowe's, but they were like big honking things and big around than that hole there. So we're going to go with this. That's cute. Yeah, that'll work. I'm not even going to, yeah, just dump it down the intake manifold. Again, let's do that again. Can we do it again? Can we do it 3 times? I'm not even going to use this piece of metal here. I'm going to use the chain. We're going to do it like that. And these little anchor shackles are good for 1,000 each, 1,000 pounds each, I think. Yeah, no, 1,100 pounds each. 1,100 pounds. Not pounds sterling, just regular old pounds. Pretty much a no-brainer, but I'm going to go ahead and replace the intake manifold bolts. A lot of them are rusted up to the point where they're really, you don't really want them holding anything on a motor. These are stainless steel marine grade. All right, I think that's going to get it. All right, let's go ahead and put a little upward pressure on the Fiasco here. Just a touch. And let's go ahead and get these engine mount bolts out of here. Ow! I guarantee you these bolts wasn't coming out of there. There we go. Let's see what kind of joy it's going to give us when we try to tap that bolt out of there. Not too bad, really. Yeah. I think with the tiny amount of bind in place, we should be able to put a ratchet on that and it should work its way out. Easy peasy. There's a jack underneath the engine also, by the way, so. There, the engine stand is on this side, so, but we don't have other things in the way. So this might be a little easier. There we go. That was easy. I must have expertly put the exact precise amount of tension on the engine with the jack. Just by osmosis, just by knowing the absolute proper amount. There's nothing else holding this engine. That's what they all say. You know, on the videos, you watch a guy pull the motor and there's always something. There's always something. So let's just see what happens. Probably need to jostle that engine loose from the mounts. I think we're going to try to bias that a little bit towards the rear. You can see the rear is coming up a little bit. Give the engine a little help up out of these motor mounts. It seems all right. It seems loose. Front of the motor needs to come up now. So I'm gonna tilt this thing back some. There we go. And I got it lifted up a little bit. I think we can go ahead and try to pull it forward then. Air conditioning compressor's a little bit in the way. I got it kind of roped off over here. But let's see if we can move that engine hoist over a little bit. And I'm underneath the car with a crowbar. I'm going to use it as a puller. To move the hoist forward. I believe that actually worked. About as high as we can get in the back there. Ooh. That was a little test there to make sure you're alive. That's what that was. I wish this compressor was not in my way. Darn motor's in there crooked now. Clutch housing cover is still on the back of the engine. Probably could have removed that. Oh well. See if we can't move it forward a little more. Or do that. There we go. That was the compressor was keeping us blocked. Pull it this way. A lot actually. That worked. I believe what we call that is free. We're going to use our lift. We're going to lower it a little bit. And we can go ahead and, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. That's actually lower than the tires would be anyway, if they were on it. So the way these stock plug wires are done, they run up through between the motor mount and the block. That's the reason why if you do your spark plug wires right, correctly, on an old Corvette, you do not see them. You see some of these guys that do their motors, and of course with headers, you know, it's probably not possible to retain that stock look. But I kind of like it. I know it's a real pain in the rear to route those spark plug wires. They route down this way and around like this and come in from the bottom. And it's a hassle. I have all the fasteners and all the stuff that goes on this motor is over in the house garage. Let's see, are we high enough yet? Uh-oh. Oh, that's a spark plug wire. See there, I told you, there's always something. There's always something. It's run between the motor mount and the engine. We get this crowbar out of the way before it clangs on the ground and scares the tar out of me. I'm running out of room over here, Mr. Cadillac. May have to pull you outside. I think I know the exact, precise word at this very moment. James? Careful. We're going to go out too far. See there, wasn't being careful. So I learned something from James. He's my buddy. We worked together for years. That's one of his favorite sayings. Careful. It goes out farther. I wasn't anticipating that. It would help if I'd ever done this before in my life. I should have moved the Cadillac. Oh well. Didn't say careful. All right, that's good enough for now. All right, so what I'm gonna do right now is go ahead and get the Cadillac out of the shop so I can move this hoist over to the other side, and then we'll start the process of getting this engine on a stand. All right, we got her on the other side of the shop here. Go ahead and get this cover off. Ow. Well, we don't have to file that off there. Nice sharp casting mark left behind on the bottom of the cover there. All right, come on now. Don't give me a hard time. There we go. Yep, some oil in there from the rear main leaking, I imagine. Let's see what we got here. Had this this clutch was replaced back in let's see, I bought this car summer of '97. I had this clutch replaced not too long after, actually. Been a long time. Flywheel looks good, it seems to anyway. So this car had 9,859 miles on it when I bought it. I had the clutch changed out at, you know, really it was out of ignorance, really. I didn't know. I just didn't know much about it at the time. And I couldn't get it to shift properly. And I took it in to Amco, and they just ripped me a new one, boy. And I just gave them the money because I was a fool. And when in reality, I could have probably just adjusted the clutch. And there's an adjustment underneath the hood. You guys know where it is. And anyway, yep, got ripped off because didn't know anything. So there you go. I guess so it's 52,000 on it now, so this clutch has got about 40,000 on it. But I need to go ahead and get this off of here so we can get this engine on a stand. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, we got the bagging and tagging going on here. Clutch. Oh, goodness, that's heavier than it looks. Let's see. Well, I'm no clutch expert. I'm not an expert on much of nothing, really. But this clutch looks like it's got more beef than Wendy's. If I had to take a stab at it, probably all right. Not grooved up or anything. Could probably just use a little. Where's that? A little bit of weirdness right there. Kind of funky looking mark was that. But anyway, we got a place in town called Birmingham Friction, and they specialize in this kind of stuff. I can take this down there and they can just do a real light surface on it, you know, and make it look like new money. We'll probably do that. It won't cost much. I guess what I should do is measure the thickness of this clutch to properly determine if it in fact is good to go. So that's what I'll do. But for right now, I'm going to set it aside. All right, let's go ahead and get the flywheel off of here. 11/16. I guess I could put this in the same bag with the clutch. We'll just call it clutch and flywheel. Clutch and flywheel. I don't know how heavy that is. All right, let's get a hold of it. You know what? I can't recall if these are pressed on or what. Clearly it's going to hang on there for a little bit. Shows what I know. I'm not an engine guy. There it comes. Careful. Don't bind up on me. There we go. Big old piece of metal. All right, let's put this over here next to the clutch. Let's see. I don't know. I guess that rear main was leaking. I changed that rear main out. Man, it's been a long time ago now. It's probably been 15 years ago. I didn't do a very good job of it. I seem to recall laying on my back underneath the car in the old house garage, fretting over it, wondering if I did it correctly or if I screwed it up. What are you gonna do now? All right, let's get this thing on this stand here. Gonna need some bolts for that, huh? And they're gonna need to be about, what is that, about 3-4 inches? They're gonna need to be about 5 inches. All right, let me go dig up some bolts. All right, we got her on the stand here. Let's go ahead and get this, let's get this hoist out of here. All right, right, here we go. Let's do some stuff here. Let's see, intake and heads. Both of which we probably will not reuse the bolts, although I assume you could if they were in good enough shape, but I don't think I'm going to. You know, these wires, these spark plug wires are actually fine. They don't have all that many miles on them. Could probably just reuse them. Come on off of there now. That one there has a, it's got a stud sticking up there, so can't remember what that was about, but we'll take a picture of it. That way I'll know it went next to number 4. All right. Some of these don't go to this engine. I think. I brought some longer ones over when I was deliberating on whether or not I should. It doesn't matter. They're not going to go back on the engine here. It's just, it'll be okay. We'll get some nice new ones. Because the reason I say that is because these bolts here have a rust ring around them. About halfway because of the coolant, I guess. But anyway, you know, they're too rusted. I don't want to try to save them. And we've got a ground strap here. Goes from the valve cover. This goes to the distributor cover. There's a big cover that mitigates risk of RF signals from the distributor. I believe that's what the cover's for. But anyway. Bet you didn't know you're going to hear the word mitigate in the video, did you? Let's get these valve cover bolts out of here. I refinished these valve covers back in the mid-2000s. They were starting to get a little rusty. I stripped them down and painted them black, put new rubber grommets in them, and I sanded down the fins, you know, to retain that stock look. Pretty cool. A lot of work for nothing. Let's get our intake off of here. Should just, look at that. Socket. And yes, this is a stock aluminum intake from GM. That's what they put on the L82 engines. Let's see. I drained the oil 18 months ago and haven't done anything with it since. Very clean inside. So you can see on this back port here, you had some debris left over from the coolant over the years. Kind of coagulated in the end of it there. Just look at this. Does your motor do that? Well, this one does. There's a passage in the back, or on some intake manifolds, but not on this one. On this intake, there is no back passage back there. Don't know why. What I'm going to do now is get myself some cardboard, and I'm going to mark it up and put all this stuff in order on it. You know, from my rocker arms and my push rods, you know, all the shit that I'm not going to reuse, so I'm just going to throw away anyway. I'm going to mark it anyway, because I'm a maniac, so just get over it. All right, let me get some cardboard, and we'll start taking this mess down. And you can see the messy job I did on the intake manifold. A long time ago, 15 years ago, I changed the gasket on the intake. I went ahead and installed the rubber gaskets that everyone says to not install, right? This is why they tell you not to install them. All right, does that make sense to everybody? Never use these. Some doofus at Felpro is getting paid to put these pieces of junk in the gasket kits. You small black guys know all this already anyway. I just wanted to show you what one looks like. And this is not the original, you know, China wall gasket. This is the one I put on there about 15 years ago. And no, I did not over torque it. I torqued it correctly. So it's just, they're just crap. They don't work. I used the wrong sealant too. I used the red stuff, but it didn't leak. At least I don't think it did. I should have used the, the gray, so anyway. Now I reckon I'll use my box that I used the last time I did this, which was 18 months ago. Let's see. Where's my little doohickey at on the end here? Did I lose it? I think I did. So this rocker arm here, I misplaced. It fell down in the car back in the day when I was taking this apart. And it took me, I don't know, a week to find it. And I found it and I put it back on the engine. The issue is I also misplaced the doohickey. What do you call that? The trunnion pivot point ball thing? I don't know where it went. So it's either on the floor in the house garage or in the engine bay somewhere in a nook and cranny, but I'll find it somewhere. So that nut there is a different style from that one. And it weren't me that did that. Somebody on the factory floor did that. Uh-oh. Maybe the other one's down in there too. Hello? Maybe it fell down that hole and went down into the crankcase. That could be. We'll look at that. That may have been what happened last time. We will look in the crankcase here in a little bit though. This is going to be like a monkey and a football and all kind of stuff. I should have used a bigger box. I'm going to put it over here where this shit can just fall all over the place and just it won't matter anyway. I need to pull that dipstick tube out of there, don't I? These LA2 motors had all the forge internals and they had these screw-in studs and the guide plates and stuff. I'm told that's supposed to be special. Don't look very special from this angle. All right, let me get this mess over in the corner and get it out of the way. All right. I had this head off of here once before. All right, intake and head hardware bag. I know I got a bigger bag. There we go. Reality is this thing let loose of a head gasket and started smoke, and when I say white smoke, the mist from the coolant, and looks like that might have been the one where it was going on, because the combustion down in these just looks plain and black, and this one has a layer of kind of a white layer on it. I'm just making an assumption there. I really don't know. That gasket just looks nasty. Does that look like a head gasket that's been leaking to you? It don't look like good and stuff. Talked to a machine shop yesterday, downtown Birmingham, a place called Precision Machine. They've been in business for like 50 years. And they do work all over town. And I talked to them about taking this short block down there and just handing it to them and basically having them just, go all through it. So I got some options open to me. All right, let's get the other head off. Got a bunch of sealant down in there. I guess that's the blue stuff they use at the factory. There's another bolt left. There we go. Awesome. I should have foreseen that. The water didn't come out of the cylinders, it came out of the holes, the bolt holes. This side of the engine looks a lot better than this side. This cylinder over here was the one that was burning the coolant got a pretty thick deposit on it. All right, let me clean up this mess. I'll be back in a minute. All right, so I've got the spark plug holders off of there, and I ain't got the dipstick thing out of there yet. And there's the block number. Looks like a 3.8 GM 3970010. That's our block casting number. What's over here? Another number right there. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe a date code. All right, so I'm looking at one of the lifters, and perfect. It is perfect. I can't see anywhere other than a visible, you know, where it's been riding on the cam, and you know, some light visible stuff on the sides clearly, but the business end on the cam is perfect condition. So that's pretty cool. You know what? I think this is a good place to stop for the evening. Tomorrow I'll pick this back up. I'll pull the lifters out, get them marked up, get them into individual baggies, and flip this thing over, pull the oil pan off, and we'll start taking a look at the bottom end. So, all right, so we'll be back in just a little bit. All right, and my little staging area, otherwise known as the stairs, I made myself a little holder for the lifters there, adding some wood, got them all lined up and in the proper order, and there's the other valve train components over there. So we got the lifters out of the engine now, and I believe we're ready to turn this thing upside down and see what we can see. We're going to pull the oil pan off and take a gander. And the remainder of the coolant is draining out of the engine. How many gallons of coolant does an engine block hold anyway? Golly, what a mess. Yeah, I guess I should have had a tarp down there or something. Oh well, be all right. Won't be the first mess I've ever made or cleaned up in the past. All right, let's get that oil pan off of there. Come on, gasket. You can do it. I must have put that gasket on there pretty good back in the day. All right, let's see what's down in this pan here. I see some blackness, but I don't see any I don't know. I see little milkshakes, what I see. I see some brown in there. Some brown mixed in with some black, you know. Kind of swirly around and stuff. I don't see any metal filings. I think that's a little bit of milkshake is what that is. So, which we knew that was going on. So, all right, let me get cleaned up a little bit, then we'll get in here. All right, so if you can take a look at this crankshaft lobe right there and see how clean it is, I think that probably give you a pretty good indication about how good this engine is. I mean, it's a good engine. All right, the only reason I took this thing down was because that head gasket let loose, and then once I got in there, I noticed that number 4 and number 6 had these vertical scratches in it that they would catch on my fingernail, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, let's just take it down and give it a refresh, you know. Let me go ahead and get this cover off of here, and this, I guess, windage tray, I guess you might call it, and just give a quick gander on the crank there, and I think we'll wrap this video up. All right, if you can't tell, it's raining outside. Got ourselves a big old rain shower. Uh-oh, I missed a bolt, as usual. That bolt there was on there, boy. Big old rascal. All right. Are we loose? Come on now, don't give me a hard time. All right, let me bag these bolts here. Set this aside momentarily. 4-bolt main block, as you can see. For the L48 motor, they gave you a 2-bolt block, and it was all cast. There wasn't anything forged in here. Damn. Okay. That's a little disconcerting, but you know, I guess not unexpected. So, right here, you can see right here. What is that? What is that? I guess that's rust. See this big red patch right here? I don't know what that is. I'm not an engine guy. Is that where rusty water ran down? Or is that, what the hell is that? It's like dried on there or something. I have no idea what that is. I'm not an engine guy. It's red. What the hell is it on there for? Why is it there? And there's some red on my rods too. I guess it's rust. Hell, ha! Been sitting out there for 18 months in the other garage. Let's see what we got here. That doesn't seem, let me get a rag. Let's just go for the old school here. What the hell is that? Why is that discolored? Why is that not the same color as that? I don't know. You see that big old red patch I'm talking about right there? Comes off. Whatever it is, flaking off. Oh, that's the special machinist paint they use back, yeah, whatever. I wish I knew what I was doing. So, see how this is different colored from that? You probably can't tell. I guess that's just rust on the damn rod. There's a reddish color on the side of the rod. That's got to be what it is. Because it's been sitting there without any oil in it for, you know, a long time. So, I guess that's what it is. But I think I've made the decision. Well, I haven't made a decision yet. Anyway, so right now I'm leaning towards taking the short block down to a machine shop and then just telling them to go through the whole thing, you know, clean it, tank it, Magna do the thing, you know, and bearings, and just, you know, make it a new short block, basically. Line home the Magna flux and all that shit. You know, block off the deck so it has a good MagnaFlow flux line accumulator horse shit stuff. Alright folks, I think I'm going to leave this video right here. Probably what I'll do is tap this oil filler tube out of here. Put this windage tray back on there. And go ahead and call a machine shop. And line up a time to go down there and just basically look it over. What they'll do is they'll mic up. They'll put a mic on the bores, give an initial indication that says, yeah, nah, this looks good, don't do anything to it. Or, yeah, we're going to take you to the cleaners. You know, I don't know. So, clearly, you're not going to learn anything about engines from me. Okay, I mean, I know all the buzzwords, I know what all the pieces do, but I'm just not an engine builder. Alright, we're going to leave this video right here. I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I release a new video on something similar to this, don't forget to click that little bell down below. You guys have a good one, and remember to enjoy restoring your classic C3 Corvette the best you can.